What's good? What's good? What's good, family? Welcome to another episode of Frontline News, where we bring you news from the front line of urban America and beyond. And I'm joined by one co-host. The other co-host is sitting backstage with no camera on right now. Yeah, where is Waldo?
Where's Waldo?
hmm
Hey,
Uh, I'm pretty sure Waldo will be here soon.
Waldo.
There you go. There's
Y'all are the
Waldo.
worst. Y'all are the worst.
Peekaboo. Okay.
So, good evening, everyone. We have an exciting show for you this evening.
Do we? Do we really?
Yeah, we have an extremely exciting show this evening. Someone in our panel was on national cable news
Hmm.
discussing and talking about Baltimore City and its educational homicide
Hmm.
being committed. And we're going to
Listen,
talk.
I'm trying to tell you, I done got a few comments about that one,
Mm,
and that's
so,
exactly what it is.
look, she even won some folks over in reference to, just truly understanding that there is a fighter in Baltimore City. It's interesting, because these folks didn't believe that there was a fighter in this city, that someone was truly standing up for the children, but there is. Folks, before we get kind of deep into the conversation again, we're going to have a conversation in reference to education in Baltimore City. We're going to throw some numbers and some facts out there. We're going to play a video clip of the interview that took place over the weekend. An amazing interview. We ask that you share, share, share. Please share this on your timeline. It's really easy to do. Just share this so that folks can be a part of the conversation. And I'm also going to post the StreamYard link. You guys can join us. We haven't had too many folks join us live. And I know some folks may be a little shy and a little scared, but you can be a part of our panel. We don't want it to just be about us in these discussions that we have every week on Frontline News. We want this to be a community discussion. So I'm going to share the link for the StreamYard. And if I see anybody pop up backstage, we're going to make it priority and make sure that you are on the panel with us and are able to join us in the discussion. Before we move any further, do understand that this is being brought to you by blackusa.news. Got to thank Donnie Glover and the whole Be More News team, and just for Donnie Glover putting together this platform. There are so many talented hosts of shows, and if you have an opportunity, definitely link up and like the blackusa.news page, and watch some of the other hosts and shows as well. People are just packing some punch in their shows and are bringing all kinds of guests, and there's everything from political to life skills. There's been authors,
Business and finance.
business and finance. I mean, there's just so many folks that have shared great programs on this network, and we ask that you please continue to support it and be a part of it. This show also is being brought to you by our nonprofit organization, People Empowered by the Struggle. We are a 501c3 certified, registered, in good standing nonprofit operating out of Baltimore City and beyond. Um, if you need us, you could easily find us. Now, I'm a little ill prepared today, family, so I didn't pull up the slides real quick to get you the numbers and stuff, but that's my bad. But if you need us, how can you reach us? Well, you can give us a call. 443-355-8014 is the number. 443-355-8014. We are a 24-hour operation, 7 days a week. No matter what time your struggle may be, we believe in life hours, not business hours. And we truly don't really take days off. Not for your birthday, not for our birthday, not for Jesus' birthday or the resurrection, as Yolanda likes to say. We don't take off for holidays. We've been right in the middle, of celebrating our own celebrations, and have gotten phone calls from families. And I had to stop everything that we were doing. Might have had a hot dog, dirty burnt hot dog in our hand, but we stopped everything that we were doing to make sure that those families' needs were being met. So give us a call again, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. And with all that, and you can also email us if you need to, pebts.org@gmail.com. And check out our website. Go to our website. We also do have a Facebook page. Follow us on Facebook as well, and pass the information out. If you know someone who may be going through life struggles, whatever those struggles may be, pass our information on and say, hey, there's an organization that might be able to help you navigate through your life struggles. Put us to the test and allow us to help those families. So write down the information, document the information, and share it as needed. So with all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, lastly, but least, we are a nonprofit organization, and we appreciate any donations that you may be able to provide to us so that we can continue to help these families, whether it's $1 commitment you decide maybe to send us every week. Whatever amount you decide to send is greatly appreciated. And I can tell you that 100% of the money that we receive goes right back into the community. We're not a top-heavy organization. So, and now that the housekeeping is officially done, let's get into the conversation this evening. So, educational homicide is what we are calling this episode. And our host for this evening, we're going to start with from, I guess that would be my right, someone that I consider to be my blood sister. I really have grown to appreciate her and all that she does for our organization as well. Good evening, Donna Tebron Green. Good evening.
Good evening, Jason. Good evening. It's been, first of all, I'd like to apologize for us not being live last week. We had a lot of things come up last minute. We apologize. Like we say, we don't take days off. So sometimes that, bumps into the time of our live show. But we ask that you charge it to the heart, as Yolanda say. I've been a little busy, and I like to throw my little
spirit charge it to the head and not the heart.
Oh, charge it to the head, not the heart, or the feet, anywhere between. It don't matter. Just don't charge it to me. But I also like to just throw out there, you guys, anyone that needs customized gift baskets, I've been a little busy trying to get those together. We have Father's Day coming up. We had Mother's Day. We have some graduations. Unfortunately, a lot we've been dealing with grief. So I do have some baskets for that home, and just while we on that subject, I like to give a shout out to all the graduates, including my granddaughter, Naya. She graduated from 8th grade. I know a lot of people that graduated. I don't want to miss no names because I forgot, but Yolanda, I think you done had some grandkids. But hold on. I think I was about to say, I think you had some grandkids and somebody graduate. So who you had graduating?
DJ.
Hey, DJ. What did he graduate? What grade is he?
You had a granddaughter and I had a grandson.
He's going from, right, I believe, elementary school to, right? No, I'm sorry.
What grade is DJ going in?
Kindergarten in the
first grade. You going to first grade?
First grade.
First grade. My fault. First grade.
Oh, right. Yes. Let's teach him how we need him to be now. We got to teach him early. So congratulations to all other graduates.
Yes. Yeah, we have to take those moments to recognize excellence in our community, especially with so much going on. And we could actually technically do better. We know we could do better. I think that's one of the main reasons why, Yolanda has been on the battlefield for quite some time in reference to the educational homicide that's being committed by North Avenue. She's very committed to this transformative change that we're going to need in order to get our city right. We can't, be concentrating on public safety, but then we know we're creating a school to prison pipeline that is directly affecting public safety. So we have to make sure that we're addressing the issues from the front end. And we know that a lot of these issues start with education.
Yeah, we got to be ready to have some uncomfortable conversations because there's no accountability anywhere, and
Mhm.
people don't want to have everyone want to point the finger and say who's at fault. But at this point, we're all at fault because silence is consent. Although it's not my child, it's somebody else's child. Like if we don't all look at ourselves as being accountable in this, no one is going to take responsibility for the mess. Let's just all say we're all at fault and just move from there. Let's figure it out from there.
I had a conversation with Godfather, Patrick Henderson, our host of our other show, and I told him, I said, we were technically better before desegregation than we are now. And in many cases, when you look at our schools have self segregated now, because you have most of the white folks that used to go to these schools. And I didn't realize the history of this until I really dug into the history. Schools like Poly were all white schools at one time. I didn't realize that. You go to Poly now, Poly is a different learning environment than it was. But a lot of folks have chose to move their children out of the public school system during desegregation, and resegregate a lot of these schools. And so, but when you look at the history of education in our city, we actually were better off. It's the reason why you ended up with a Morgan State, because we couldn't go to Maryland University, to get a degree. It's the reason why you have schools like Coppin,
And
um,
Howard
you know,
University.
and Howard University.
Hmm.
So we were already achieving what I believe to be excellence in education before desegregation. Um, and I think that we had a stronger sense of pride in education before desegregation. Now it seems like, the system is broke, and nobody is trying to really fix it.
Because it's
Um,
intentional. It's intentionally broke to keep us in slavery.
Well, anybody know that I wasn't introduced?
Well, we get into
no,
that.
no,
That's
we'll
he
get
was
to
he
that.
was kind of introducing you with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're finishing up with Donna leading in, but
But hold
since
on,
you
hold
want
on. But AJ said if she wasn't talking in the background, she would have understood where the conversation was going.
Talking in the background.
We talk about your educational suicide. He introducing you up to that,
right.
Yolanda. Please,
Well, somebody that's been on the battlefront since they want to be introduced so bad, somebody who's
quickly.
really been on the battlefront and has a vested interest. Um, they are a product of the Baltimore City school system, as well as they have a child still in the system and a grandchildren that are in the system. Um, and so she has a stake in all of this. And she expressed that stake this week, uh, on Fox News, and family. So without further ado, um, please help me welcome uh, the future mayor of Baltimore. So we're claiming it in the name of Jesus and the blood of Jesus, the future mayor of
You
Baltimore,
better get it.
Yolanda Pulley.
You
Good
better
evening, my
get it,
sister.
girl. You better get it, girl.
You better. You
You
better.
better get it, girl. We better get it, y'all. This is you know what? I've been saying this all day. I don't know why God laid it on my spirit for me to say we should not keep having to convince our people they deserve better.
Hmm.
We should not have to do that as far as education, as far as working, as far as see jobs just means just over broke.
Housing,
Right. Housing. Like
Said it
respect.
again. Said it again. What jobs the acronym of jobs is?
just over broke.
Hmm.
So that's where minimum wage comes from. And we're not doing a good justice for our people. This is clearly an injustice. It clearly violates constitutional rights of how we are treating people. But
And human
like I
rights.
right,
And
human
human
rights.
rights.
We're violating a lot. So, like I said, we should not have to convince people they deserve better at all. But unfortunately, this is where we at. This is why all these organizations exist, because a lot of these nonprofit organizations would not exist if people didn't need so much help. We would
You know
not
what
exist.
happened, Yolanda? You know where it was before? At first it was in the church. Now people lost faith in the church. That's why all of these nonprofits is popping up, because the church is not doing the job anymore.
Right.
Right. Well, government is not doing their job.
They've
And
been
it's
not doing
like,
it. No, they've
yeah,
been
but
doing
it's
their
like,
job.
well,
They
they
do their
are doing
job.
their job.
Yep.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that when do we stop just passing the buck? When do we say the bus stops here? You know, politicians, and I tell this to people too. Politicians do whatever they have to do, and they say whatever they have to say to get in the seat. It's my job as a peopletician to do whatever it takes to keep them out that seat. But go ahead, Jason. We don't own the rights to this, but roll that beautiful bean footage.
Well, before
I was
we
dying to
roll,
say that. Wait a minute, I was
look,
just dying to say that.
before we roll the footage, I want folks to just hear a few of these quotes in reference to education from our community, so that we understand exactly that this is not something that we're talking about present, that this has been discussed in the past as well. For example, uh, Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education."
Hmm.
Malcolm X said, "Education is the passport to the future,
Hmm.
for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today."
Exactly.
So imagine taking that passport.
Right, exactly,
When you
exactly.
take that passport away, like you can't travel to the places and things. And like, did you know they have like this little culture thing that's going on, where as though you know how like what is her name? Oprah gets out there and her speeches is basically believe in yourself and push yourself. And you know, they really are, there's a culture of people going against those speeches. Like they're saying, well, for me, what I hear is we need laborers. So don't believe in yourself, because you know we need people to work at Amazon. We need people to work at McDonald's. We need people to work at Walmart. You
Hmm.
know, because if you believe in yourself, that means you're going to be the one that's running the Walmart. You're going to be the one that's opening the Amazon. Like, and if we have too many people that believe in themselves, God forbid, too
Hmm.
many people. But that's why there's not going to be, you know, when the AIs take over, it's not going to be anybody that's like, where will they go?
Hmm.
They better find a trade to jump into real quick. They better bring trades back.
Hmm.
But see, Donna, when they say
Yolanda, they better go into something that they love and love for the
Hmm.
life of it, because unfortunately, you're going to be stuck with whatever's out there, because the robot's going to take over everything else. So you're going to be stuck. Like they're going to make the bids, they're going to make the fast food, all the things that we
They're
complain
gonna
about.
write the stories, because
They're going to write all the stories.
that's
But
some of the issues now. They're talking about the New York Times just laid off a large percentage of their workforce. And a lot of folks are saying that, well, this might be directly related to the fact that they're finding ways using AI to basically write stories that in some cases are comparable, to people who have Pulitzer, prizes, that have awards in journalism. They're saying that they couldn't really see the difference between the writing and journalism, between AI telling the story and an actual,
because AI got millions and millions of information that they can process at seconds,
correct,
on seconds. The
right,
amount, the time of their processing, it takes us more than two, more lifetimes than we're allowed. So
right,
it can actually help us, but it can absolutely hurt us. But if we
right.
have no skill at all, like we can't even cook in our own house and we can't even clean our own house, and we don't know our ABCs, we don't know script, it's like we're written out of the story.
Yeah,
We're
and
gone.
that's what I told you, that some of the theory and thought processes to the guaranteed income that you keep hearing about across the country. Some of the theory behind it is that at some point in society there won't be nothing left for us to do,
Hmm.
because we'll push a button and our dinner will be cooked for us, through automation and artificial
well, look,
intelligence.
guess what? I
You
don't own the
know,
rights to this either, but this is where it come from. Meet George Jetson,
Oh yeah.
his boy Elroy.
And what the urgency now is, because some people looking at the urgency. The urgency now is we went through COVID, so they was able to see that the system can run without humans being in place.
oh yeah,
That's
And
it
then
right
oh yeah,
there.
you got so many
without
people
a
that don't
collapse.
want. You got so many people that don't want to return to work and they're fighting it. They're gonna get some robots to sit in there, some automated people, some people that because they transfer all the contracts over to like India and all of that. So when you pick up the phone to call Sprint, call Comcast, you call in India, you call
Some
in
foreign
Paris.
call
Right,
center,
you
right?
call it exactly.
Right.
So you got to
Hey, may
understand
I
it's
help you?
already been going on. And you got the people, the minimalistic people, this culture right now that's saying, oh, I don't want to. Very soon they're not going to have a chance to.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Well,
that's
like
that's yeah.
what I was going to say when we was talking, we're not preparing our children for future of anything.
Of
Just
nothing.
like we're the next. We are now that third world country that they talk about and say for 60 cents a day you could take care of a child in Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's going to be us. Matter of fact, you ain't gotta give us 60 cents. For 17 cents a day, you just give a child. You can feed a whole family in Baltimore.
Yeah, come on,
That's
21 cents. 21 cents. Come on, they
what,
raised the rent.
Right, right. Let me give you some more quotes before we go to this video clip. Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which can be used to change the world."
So when you take that weapon, what do? It's like, think of the quote and think about what they
become
did.
lethargic. You become lethargic. You can't change. You can't change your own circumstances. Better yet, change the world.
Nope.
well, that's why they're letting people get lazy and lethargic on purpose. It's intentional because they know what's coming down the pike, and the only ones that's going to be left trying to fend for ourselves are Black people.
And the only thing they're gonna want you to do is work the fields, honey.
Because that's all that's gonna be left. Matter of fact, we won't even be able to pick cotton no more. They're gonna have a cotton picking machine.
I don't know, Yolanda.
We already got that.
I think they like
We already
Black
got
people.
that.
Listen, let me tell you. I think it's something about the thought on some of those good old boys' mind. The thought of putting us back on a cotton picking field. I think that kind of turned some of them on. I don't mean no harm.
Don, let me tell you what I told Jason yesterday. I said, don't expect me this go around to stand on no platform with no trees. Nobody talk about no trees. I'm traumatized by trees. We're talking about bringing lynching back. That's why they want to bring trees, because they want to lynch us from these trees. No, sir.
Yolanda, trees is oxygen. We need it. Like you
And
in
they also
cement
lynching
land.
tools.
You've been in cement land too long. Like they took away the trees. Now they need to return the trees because it's taken away from the oxygen.
No, nope, Donna, they're going to lynch us from the ones that give them oxygen, and we ain't going to be here to breathe it.
Yolanda.
We watched a documentary this week, right? I forget the name of the documentary. And in this one little town where this guy comes from, that's telling the story about Black America, there's this tree in the middle of the roadway.
They still got the tree where people was lynched from.
They refuse to cut down the tree. The tree is historic.
It's a reminder.
And it's the lynching tree.
It's a reminder.
It's
they
not
left
just
it there on purpose.
It's not for the symbolism of white America.
No, it is.
It's actually for well.
So
that's
who
how you look
decided
at
to
it.
leave the tree though? Who?
The Black community. The Black
they
community.
wanted to leave the tree
as a place of mourning, as a place of reflection, as a place of remembering the past. Like when he was telling it, I was like
put me
shocked.
on a plantation with good times, and then put me out there on that concrete jungle, because before I let you bring another tree to lynch me from.
I don't know how I feel about
that. I could live in that town. I'd have a chainsaw and I'd have been.
Jason, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how I feel about that, because a lot of things, like, they were able to change the narrative. So I almost feel like the good old boys wanted the tree, and then Black people, just like the word nigger, they changed the narrative. Oh, we took it back. Like, you taking the tree back? Like, no, cut it down. Like, some things we don't need. Like, unfortunately, our loved ones, they're not there anymore. And like the significance of some people, and then they switch the narrative. Like, some people are traumatized by seeing that tree. Why would we want anything that brings any meaning to that?
Trees, period. I am traumatized.
We want to stop it. We need trees.
You say what you want. I'm traumatized by a tree, period.
I'm traumatized by this too.
I don't even like the golf course no more. I see people hanging from over there.
Because all those trees they planted?
Yeah. And they keep
the trees that was there already.
I'm telling you, they have an agenda. They have an agenda. It ain't for us to breathe either.
So I'm going to give you this last one, and we're going to go to the clip. So this is from W.E.B. Du
E.B.
Bois.
Du Bois.
All
Hey.
right. And he said, education must not simply teach work, it must teach life.
Hmm.
And that to me is the more reason why our schools have to be in order, because our schools are not just teaching work, they are teaching life.
No, our schools are actually teaching death.
Oh, of course, currently, correct.
So yeah, it's
Correct.
currently, and
Correct.
so that's what I'm saying. It kind of dawns on me, like every quote that you made, the intentions behind what they're taking away from our community with what they're intentionally doing, it's like it's even more offensive. It's even
Yeah.
more offensive.
Well,
Yeah.
see, Donna, the thing is that if people understand why schools was actually created back in the 1920s, then we will understand why it became a business so quick. Schools became because when child labor laws came into play back in the 1920s, they said, well, you know what, children can't work no more. They had to find somewhere for them to go. So they was like,
And
oh,
make money
let's
from them.
let's put them
Mhm.
in school and make money off of it. And that's what they did.
Yeah, but the problem was, Yolanda, the problem was they didn't, like, their whole intention was to put certain people in schools, not all people.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
the
Right.
underbelly of the people,
Right.
they're still supposed to be slaving. We can slave
Right.
them, and then the other ones, we're going to educate them, and
Well, Donna,
then
you got to
Mhm.
realize the child labor laws was not made for black people or black children. It was
yeah, we
made for the
wasn't,
white
yeah,
ones
because
that
it
had
was
to.
it was for humans. We weren't
Right.
considered
Right.
humans.
Right. But again, you have to remember the purpose, and then I just explained one of the purpose of education. Like Dr. King said, it's intelligence plus character. So when you're wondering why little Pookie sounds, little Peanut sounds the way that he sounds, the way that he's expressing himself, is because of the lack thereof.
Hmm,
The lack thereof.
You
And
better
hmm,
and
say it, dummy.
hmm.
right. And we have to understand that we were having this conversation the other day,
Gone
Yolanda, if you
stupid.
remember. Right,
You
right.
is
If you remember,
talking now, dummy. Kick
right,
that knowledge out, stupid.
right,
Hmm.
right. Remember, we were talking the other day in reference to this
I'm
with
offended.
Godfather. We were talking about how reading has been found to have kind of tamed the savage culture, the savage beast in us. That we came out of very primitive times. And as we evolved into the people that we are today, the only reason why we are here today with the type of evolution that we have as people today is because of education. And guess where that education came from? That education didn't come from Europe. That education came from the Moors. That education came from Kemet. That education came from black nations, from black libraries. You,
Well,
you know what
Jason,
I mean?
look at if we. When did you come here? The early '90s, right?
The late 80s, late
Okay,
80s.
late '80s. Okay, so every bench used to say that because see that's what I'm saying when we said generations have been failed. Every bench used to say the city that reads.
Yeah, I was here when that
Every
campaign and that
exactly.
slopes,
So if
and
they
people
knew
were
that people
changing
could
it
not,
to the city
they were
that
trying
bleeds.
to force people to learn how to read. Then nobody caught on to that concept when Kurt Schmoke put all those benches out there because he knew that these people could not read.
Correct.
And that's why
Correct.
they're not hiring people from our city and city government because they know that these people can't read.
They not in the
Yeah.
they not in
Yeah.
their employment pool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You get disqualified from everything.
Yeah.
Everything because of the way you show up, the way that you're
Yeah.
taught to show up, your attitude,
Your
your
mannerism.
discipline,
Right.
like all of that. And
The
when
way
you
you
go in
talk.
there with all the slangs and can't have an intelligent conversation
Correct.
because all you literally know is a bunch of profanity and a bunch of slang words, like, you show up that way. And
Yeah.
I don't know if people really think about it, because honestly, like, it's a lot of people that's never run their own business, and basically in their head they feel like they never qualified to. But you're the boss. Who will hire you?
Again, Donna,
Yeah.
we used to
Yeah.
see the things that when black people were educated, they always found a way to exclude us. Oh, your hair is too kinky. Oh, we don't like the way your hair is. Oh, you growing a beard. Oh, you have a mustache. Oh, you have to cut this and you
And
have to cut that.
ultimately, they was morphing into us. So all them dreadlocks, they turned into their dreadlocks.
Right.
Like,
But it wasn't accepted back then when these black people were educated. They
Yeah.
couldn't do it. So now they found a new way to do it. They
but
just
I'm
keep
thinking,
evolving. They just keep evolving with exclusion.
Mhm.
I'm,
It's
I'm
called
think,
miseducation.
I'm thinking of a conversation that we had when I was talking the other day, and I was saying that, but technically, our educational system has had some systemic and some systematic, you know, parts in it that unfortunately kind of preserves what the outcome of what America really wants out of us. They want a labor force. They don't want us to be educated. They want us to fall victim into the 13th Amendment and servitude. They want
Well,
us
they
to
did. They
fall into
found a
that.
new way to do that. Now they can ready to get servitude out of social services. When you will be required to go to work 20 hours a week, regardless of your
At least.
disability, regardless of anything, you
And
will
God
be
forbid you
required.
make over a certain amount because they're gonna cut your check, cut your food stamps, cut your medical assistance. God forbid, like they pushing you out into a society that a lot of them aren't ready for.
Well, Donna,
Yeah.
unfortunately, they better prepare because guess what? Their expectancy to receive food stamps now is only 3 years, and you will not get not one after your 3 year period.
But Yolanda, God forbid they get out there and get a skill and like it. Oh my God.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm. That's what I'm trying to took and told you, dummy.
Good, God forbid they really get out there and change it. Like that's what we gotta do. We gotta switch that narrative. Like instead of making them victim to this system, we gotta let them know. No, they just expediting. Because everything needs an exit plan. Anything that's given to you, anything that comes what people consider easy needs an exit plan. Should nobody be on social service for the rest of their life unless they're not an able-bodied person. Unless mentally they're not ready. Like you got people that's been brought up on social service. They pass down that social service love to their kids and their grandkids and everybody like inside the home, everybody soon as somebody like soon as they get out of high school and somebody get pregnant, oh, go get social service. Instead of go get a job. Go get social service. That is
Go
what
get just over broke.
Yolanda, but guess what?
Right.
What is
Right.
social
Right.
service?
Way under
Way
broke.
under poor.
Way under broke. Right. Right.
Way
Right.
under poor. Like, and when you
Yeah.
compare it, it's like I would rather be just over broke, able to pay my own bills to keep them out of my business, than staying all the way below a poverty level for them to tell me what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and what I qualify for and what they feel like I deserve. No, it
Well,
doesn't
that's
make
why
sense
this educational system. That's why we call it educational homicide.
because
We've
it's
been
the
saying this.
miseducational system.
Yeah, but we've been saying this for the past almost
Why
three
can't we see
years.
you?
When we stood outside, and we told them this is educational homicide. At this point, people need to be charged for their crimes because if they commit any other crime against the government or they speak out against the government, they're being charged with treason. What do we need to charge them with? Because at this point, this is organized crime. This is the 1920s and 30s when you had Al Capone and them running stuff. This is a RICO charge. I don't care what nobody say. This is organized crime at its best. But go ahead, Jace, because it's 6:34.
Yeah. So just really quick, some of the numbers really quick. So we know that New York City, most folks know this, that New York City has the largest school system in the nation. 900 plus thousand, almost a million students in their school system. Um, Baltimore City has only 86,000 roughly students in their system. But the CEO of Baltimore City gets paid more than the CEO of New York City. Well, and they don't call it a CEO; they call it an actual school superintendent in New York
Yeah,
City
but she doesn't qualify to be a superintendent. So
because she has no tenure in the school system here. Correct.
yeah.
Correct. Right. She came from a private school system. What's interesting is that her spending is concerned, New York is not the number one per student in reference to educational spending. Actually, Alaska is number one. New York actually ranks 11th in reference to student spending is concerned.
Hmm.
Maryland is ranked 22nd in the nation. Ranked 22nd in the nation. we spend roughly around $35,000 per student.
For $3,500 worth of education.
Right.
Because
And you
that's the
have
10% rule.
right. You have New York City that spends 40,000 per student and has a higher graduation rate, doesn't have the school failures that you see here in New York. But yet here it is, you have a school system that is only $5,000 difference
But
than the
Jason,
largest school system in the
so
nation.
hold on, Jason. You made the perfect example. That's the pyramid. You said that in our school system we spend a lot of money, but our CEO has she has a higher pay than in New York City. So they got a
Right.
higher graduation rate because I can guarantee you they flipped the model. They're putting
Yeah.
more of the money into the student and less into staff, into the CEO. You know, the
Administration.
Right.
yeah,
And they're
administration.
taking care of their teachers. My mom's was
Mhm.
an educator
They
for
flipped the
years.
model. I
She was a
guarantee you,
vice,
if we go to New York and we look
yep,
at their model, I guarantee you they flipped it. It's
she
like
was
we
a
all
vice
got the same
principal.
model. We all get the money, but
Yeah.
it's how you distribute the money once you get it.
Right. There, they
Right.
definitely emphasize the unions, definitely in New York City, have got it to where the teachers in New York are getting paid a great salary with great perks and great benefits. And when they retire, they have a great retirement system. You know, my mom's turned around and retired, went to North Carolina to retire, you know, after working for the school system for 20 years.
Because all the
Well,
money
see,
don't
the
go
thing
into their
is,
board of directors.
the thing is those numbers is manipulated somewhere along the line. Because if you're watching that video and look how many children are now homeschooled. That's why I said, Jason, you gonna have to
Yeah,
play it
we're
so
gonna
you
we're
can
gonna
finish.
play it right now. So, uh, just in reference to again ranking in school systems is concerned, I told you New York is number one. Well, Baltimore is 44th,
Hmm.
44th in ranking as far as the number of students is concerned. We are the 44th largest school system in the nation, but we spend the most money and have the most failures out of majority of the school, out of 120 schools in urban cities. We have
It's
the
because of that
highest
model.
failure rate.
I'm telling you, it's because of the model. They putting the money into the upper. You
This
know,
make me
if they
so
flip
sad.
it, they'll have a lot more success. Like it's like
Mhm.
that's how you know it's intentional. That's how you know.
One person who continues to remain on the battlefield and fight for our students and fight for our future students and fight for accountability has been Yolanda Pulley. And
Yes.
she was involved in an interview this week on Fox 45 Cable News Network.
Fox News.
On That's Fox Cable News. Again, it's
You
Fox
said Fox
Cable News.
45. It's Fox News.
No, I said Fox Cable News. Go
No,
back
you
and
didn't.
rewind the videotape.
Okay, come on, come on.
All right. So again, Fox Cable News. All right, that she was on the Lawrence Jones show, and we're going to go to that clip really quick, and if this thing will work properly, that'll help. All right. So here's the interview with Lawrence Jones and Yolanda Pulley and several other community folks were in there as well. So let's see. Up there it is. All right.
Welcome back. Let's head to Baltimore, where the city's schools had the lowest graduation rate across Maryland during the last school year. In 2022, at least 23 of the schools had 0 students proficient in math. Maryland's Democratic governor saying education is a top priority back in February.
We made the largest investment in public education by any governor in our state's history. We can no longer separate our vision for economic prosperity from the duty to make Maryland's public schools the best in the nation.
So he's not wrong. The Baltimore public school system is one of the most funded in the nation, among the top tier in funding, 4th highest to be exact. Last year, the school's budget increased nearly 16%. But enrollment's been plummeting for years. So do you think more money for your students, better education, right? Not according to the folks I spoke to.
More money does not equal quality education. Never.
So that's Yolanda. Her children are enrolled in Baltimore City schools. And between the education or the lack thereof and the crime crisis plaguing the city and its schools, she's terrified of sending her children there every day. To others who joined our conversation, joined the growing movement as well. Homeschool in Baltimore, but that's not an option for everyone, nor is it covered. First, let's start with a former Baltimore teacher who finally had enough. But you taught in Baltimore for 10 years. What made you decide to leave?
I would get students who were, coming to me in 6th grade who were on 2nd grade reading levels. Very rarely did you have students who were proficient and on grade level in reading and or math.
Do they encourage the educators to pass them along even though they aren't prepared for the next level?
When I was an educator, a child could only be held back one time in each part of their academic career. I've had kids tell me do what you want. I can't fail. I already failed last year. It's not like I can fail again. So
Really?
yeah.
I want you to talk about the violence in the schools. What is that like?
I can remember instances of students beating other students up, and I feel so bad, but I'm encouraged not to get involved, and so I have to follow protocol. But in the meantime, someone's child is getting beaten.
Do you have children now?
I do.
Did you send them to Baltimore schools?
No, that's why I homeschool.
Really? Are the taxpayers in Baltimore getting a return on their investment on education?
No, I can't say we are. If we look around our communities, we look around, our schools, we look at the numbers. I mean, numbers don't lie, people do. We look at the numbers, they're not lying to us. Our students in our schools really need some help.
The academic decline is no secret to parents. The number of Maryland homeschool students has spiked from 27,000 in 2019 to nearly 45,000 in 2022. To understand how students are affected, I spoke with 3 Baltimore City parents.
I've been here my whole life. I'm a product of Baltimore City schools. My mother was a product of Baltimore City schools. This is generational. This just didn't happen. You failed generations of families. So this is an intergenerational curse when it comes down to our school systems. Under different administrations, we have still seen the same results of parents failing. And unfortunately, parents can't teach their children how to read if they can't read.
Beth, you successfully homeschool children, but there's a growing movement of parents that want to homeschool their children.
I started coaching parents, mostly mothers, how to homeschool in August of 2020. These parents were pulling their kids out of school in a panic situation, and they all had different boiling points of what was the last straw. So I put together their curriculums based on online free resources and going to the public library. What has been developed today is more of a housing program to put the kids in a space for 8 hours every day and give them busy work so both of the parents can work. And homeschool is something that you can do as working parents because you don't have all the busy work.
The youth homicide is up 67%. The shootings are up 55% from the same time last year. Yolanda, what runs through your mind?
Frustration. In order to understand the people, you have to be one of them. We have too many people making these decisions on education, on crime, on homelessness that never felt a struggle. They took 9 to 15 guns out of one school in Baltimore City this year. So children can't learn if they're not safe. It's bad enough the education system is failing them. Now we got crime and put on top of that. But children open the side door and let people in with guns. Nobody's monitoring anything.
Baltimore education budget is the 4th highest funded large school system in the country.
The navigator is the CEO of Baltimore City Schools, Dr. Santelises, who get paid more money than the president.
It's money management. We've seen it.
So you mean to tell me again, with a $1.62 billion budget, you can't educate, they can't bring a school book home, and you can't even keep a child safe?
The last number I heard was 16,000 to educate a Baltimore City student. And you can educate a homeschooler for, if you're going to buy curriculum, for less than $2,000.
Where is the transparency in the school district?
So a little asterisk replaced the scores. After all these years that they have put the scores, they replaced them with asterisks. What are we hiding?
You're not giving children financial literacy in school. When I was in school, they taught us how to balance a checkbook. See, certain things feel intentional. They protect the institutions, not the children, not the parent. Everybody's walking around is patting everybody on the back for a failed school system. They're closing down schools at a massive rate. And why is it 40 and 50 children in one classroom with one teacher?
If the schools don't succeed, the city doesn't succeed. And now we've just gone down to a fraction of what it used to be. Jobs have left, people have left, and we need people coming in, and people are afraid.
And it all goes back to education.
This is educational homicide at this point.
Yes, it is.
That's absolutely what it is. It's educational homicide.
Exactly.
And how long have we been standing out there, people empowered by the struggle? And prior to that, how long have Yolanda, because me, I saw the intentions of that school system a long time ago when it was happening to me. Me being a student that wanted to learn and wanted to do things, my environment just pushed me to other things because, how can you focus on education? How can you focus on, just like Yolanda said, when you can't focus on safety? So if you're in a neighborhood that's known to be pretty bad, it's like, you're not going to want to go, like, you're not going to want to go. That's the thing with school. Like, you have to want to go. You're being made to go, but you have to want to go in order to learn. If you don't want to go, if you don't feel safe, then you're going to get what you're getting now. A bunch of fights, a bunch of trouble, a bunch of bullying. And then you have schools that actually targets kids for standing up for their own rights. Make it make sense. And not CENTS. Make it make sense.
Yolanda?
Well, she's absolutely correct. And I actually said that on the interview, but they didn't play it. How does a child get up, or how does a person get up and have a productive day if all they hear is gunshots, the police sirens, ambulance, public enemy number one? If you hear all these things that terrorize a community, how do you expect a child to get up and have an okie dokie day at school? Or have a person that want to go out there and work and leave their children in the house by themselves, knowing goodness well, where I used to live at, bullets will fly through your window at any given time. How many times my house been shot into, Donna?
I'm just saying. How many times was we in there when your house got shot at?
Exactly. My cousin was home while I went to work one night, and then I get a phone call talking about my cousin Nikki just got grazed across the chest.
But this is a stark reality.
The person that got shot ran in my house and fell on the floor. That's trauma.
This is a stark reality for many students in the city. You have children that are worrying about what they're going to eat in the morning because they went to bed with nothing to eat.
You got children that's getting lifed early. They're taking, because sometimes the parents, one is outside the home trying to make sure they have money to bring in because, like Yolanda said, just over broke, but at least they just over it. And then you have the ones that's struggling with addiction and mental illness. You have those. So you actually have some students out here that's raising their parents.
Well, I need everybody to look at it like this. If you were born in Baltimore City, we're all lead babies. We all drank the water. We all went to the parks. We all drank out of those fountains. We drank Baltimore City schools water. We jumped in the pools. And guess what else we did? We bathed in that water. And then next thing you know, we had an influx in lead. They shut the system down in school. And these children wasn't able to drink out the fountains and drink water for decades.
Majority of the school fountains are still wrapped up in plastic bags.
In the old schools, in the new schools, I don't even think that they even have a water fountain in the school building.
Let's take a walk and see.
Is she great? Say something, Jason.
I'm being very clear on. No, I put the picture up for a reason. I'm being very clear on who the enemy here is. No,
she's froggy. No. She looked froggy, Yolanda. Let her jump.
Yeah.
She public enemy number one.
And we have to understand and be clear on who the enemy is in our community when we look at the systematic and systemic problems in our community. She's part of the problem.
Oh yeah,
with the
yeah.
amount of years that she's been in there, and you don't see any real transformative change in our school system. And
Well, Jason,
and
I don't know if this is the interview that she did, but that looks like the same dress that she had on.
Yolanda, really?
Yeah, because she did an interview and she
That might be
blamed.
her interview dress, like we got funeral dresses.
No, hers is purple. It's usually that ugly Barney looking one, or that grimace looking one.
Oh, good
No,
Lord.
but I was talking about, no, she blamed the churches for she said if you want to look and blame someone, you have to blame the parents and the churches.
Yolanda, but that's what they do. If you take the focus off, that's why I say we need to have this mentality that we all take the responsibility and say it's all of our fault. Until we all say that, because the parents are saying it's not my fault, and the teachers are saying it's not my fault, and the administrators saying it's not my fault. And clearly we know it's not the student's fault.
Right,
So it
right.
falls on everybody else. It falls on the community. It falls on the village. It falls on the teacher. It falls on everybody that's supposed to be setting an example for these students. And we're not setting examples because everybody trying to make a bigger monster. Whose fault is it? It's all of our fault. It is all of our faults. The parents is not a PTA. The parents is not trying to help their kids get in some type of sport because they don't have time or they don't have the transportation to get them there. Like it's all of our fault. When are we going to get it? It's all of us.
And see, we've been in these homes. So when we hear this excuse of, well, it starts at home, but we know the dynamics, the true dynamics of these homes. Many of these homes are not homes.
It's broken.
They're just houses. They're houses.
Yeah,
of
but what
despair, houses
it's
of
shelter.
poverty.
Yeah, but who
It is.
say
Say what it is, Jason. It's shelter because some of them don't even have floors. Some of them don't have proper heat. Some of them don't have. A lot of them don't have air conditioning. A lot of it don't have love. A lot of it don't have respect. Most of it is built in death and bitterness.
Yeah, you have addicted parents. If you have a parent in the household, most of these children in some cases are raising themselves. So we have a broken foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a broken foundation, it's important that you have some sort of additional services or wraparound services or something being provided to change the tide or the plight of a certain group or individuals. And what I mean in this situation is our children spend at least 8 hours, 5 days a week in the school system.
Learning nothing.
That's a lot of time to impress, young, impressionable minds. That's a lot of time.
But when you homeschool, it takes less than 2 hours.
That's because they're dragging out the day for nothing.
Again, if
they're dragging it out, we already know what that is.
Right. If you're capable of doing something like that, but if you're not capable of being a self-educator, being a provider of education from the home, from your household, then you are relying on the institution that you pay taxes into. Everybody in the state of Maryland pays taxes into this failing school system.
So that means we're paying for education, right?
We're paying for education.
Part of the educational
so listen, so we're paying for the education or the miseducation, and no one's saying anything.
We are buying the bullets and we are purchasing the gun,
and we're pulling the trigger. And we're pulling the trigger. Every single one of us that don't say anything, don't vote.
Here's the thing, Donna. We're not pulling the trigger. We're paying people like high-price administrators like Sonia Santelises to pull the trigger for us.
Nah, Jason, we're pulling the trigger because if we weren't a part of it, like we're a part of every.
I'm saying we are. I'm saying we are a part of it. But what I'm saying is that we pay these folks to be the administrators that are supposed to be fixing and correcting and keeping this ship upright. And people like Sonia Santelises has done nothing but continue to take pop shots at the community, pop shots at the churches.
Because there's anybody behind.
Right. But self accountability.
But see, that's what manipulators do. That's what narcissistic people do. Like, put on their public enemy number one narcissistic personality, besides Donald Trump, and we'll talk about that at another time. But it's like right there. If you want to know what it looks like, there it go right there. Like if we don't, at the point where you got to understand that you have somebody that's making almost $500,000, including her bonuses. I don't care what her salary
Makes
says.
more than the president.
I don't care
more
what
than
her
the
salary
president.
say. I'm talking about added
Right.
bonuses and everything in
Right.
order. And this is all of the money that's coming from us. Like
Right.
the one that's
Right.
just over broke.
Right.
We're paying for that.
She gets more money than the president. She gets more money than the vice president. She probably
And they
gets
wonder
more
why we
money.
don't shut up. Why
Right.
would we shut up when we're just over broke, or can't
Right.
even get just over broke, because we've been disqualified from jobs for a long time because we don't
Yeah.
have the education, we don't have the verbiage in order to keep an intellectual conversation going. So they look at you like you're stupid. They judge you from the beginning, and you learn not to. You get a little defensive when you think that the first thing they're going to do is judge you, but then you do things
Yeah.
for them to judge you.
Look, and
Makes no sense.
looking at salary.com, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, the average salary for just a regular chief executive officer of a company ranges from around 100K to 320K. This is according to online. She's making more money in some cases than most average CEOs of companies are being made. And
Because she's
Yolanda
doing
said,
something especially illegal.
right, and
It's
something
6:57.
like
We got to wrap up.
and something like Yolanda said earlier in our pre-production, when you look at the salary that she's making, and again, identifying that she's making more than the leader of the free world is making. Most CEOs and most corporations would be held accountable for a failure year to operate properly. She's had multiple years of failure operating.
She get bonuses for it.
And affirmations, because everyone keeps saying when they interview, she's doing a great
Pat on the
job.
back.
Love that CEO. She's doing a great job. Love that CEO.
She's moving our schools in the right direction.
Moving us forward.
Says the ones that don't have any kids in the same system.
Well,
Most
Donna, she
likely.
is moving us in the right direction, straight to prison.
Right.
Yolanda, but
Right.
you got to understand look at the motive. The ones that saying she's moving our kids in the right direction is the ones that don't have no kids in the system that she's controlling.
And her children don't go to Baltimore City School.
Right, private schools,
Right.
because
Right.
she's way over successful.
Look,
She beyond just over broke.
and I know we can't put a requirement like that on any position. Again, a parent should always have the choice to decide where to send their children to. But in some cases, when you're getting paid almost, $400,000 a year, I would say in some cases there would be nothing wrong with putting the stipulation in that your children have to attend public school. And the reason why I say that is because somebody like her would make sure that whatever the problems are in that school is solved, because
We
she
got
don't
2
want to see
minutes.
her
If
children
y'all gonna
fail.
get y'all closing remarks.
I don't have anything else to say. Just remember, just keep your eye on who the enemies are in our community.
Yeah, and I as well. I just want to piggyback on that. Just know that what they're saying to you in front of the camera is BS. Just look at the numbers, because numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, my thing is teachers go to school for a reason. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Heavy is that head. They went to school. They get paid a lot of money to be educators. So with that being said, it's not technically a parent's. When you sit up there and try to blame a parent, you have to realize the parent did not go to school to educate. So the same way, we were taught in school how to add from right to left. They now teach how to add from left to right. So it's totally different. That stuff that Jordan bring home, I have never seen that in my whole
Common Core
life.
math.
Right. I have never seen that in my whole life. So
Right.
when he come to me and say, "Ma, can I help you?" Better go get that teacher to get paid for this.
And how do you think the majority of these households operate? They operate.
And you know what's sad, Jason? Because a lot of the things that I was in a lot of gifted and talented classes, and like the stuff that them kids bring on now, I have no clue.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. Well,
So
family, that's our time, and we appreciate y'all hanging out with us, and we'd love to hear your comments and stuff. Please share and give us your comments in reference to the educational homicide in Baltimore City. Until next week, family, we love y'all. Go
love
out there
you.
and do something special for someone other than your selfish self. Um, so, but we love y'all. And Yolanda, great interview. Thank you for fighting for the people.
Thank you. Good night, guys.
Good night.